Depression is just like a cruel punishment. It makes you feel sad, lost, and empty. That's what depression does to you.
When you feel like your life is sinking, try positive thinking because we want you to live happily. My name is Daphne Sunga.
Hi, my name is Ronaldo Queaño.
My name is Janrich Lim.
My name is Rhence, Valencia. And
today
we're going to talk about depression. What comes into your mind when you hear the word depression? Anger,
Anxiety.
difficult,
Scary.
alone, anxiety,
Suicide.
When you say the word depression, I think those people are, that's why we have to be there for them. We have to help them.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are with Miss Monica Tuason, the guidance counselor for second year and fourth year college. So, Miss Monica, how are you?
Thank you, and fine.
How do you convince someone who is in denial that he or she is possibly depressed?
How do you convince? Siguro, especially if that person is like clinically depressed or there's a diagnosis and there's a threat to life, I don't think you have time pa to convince that person. You have to immediately inform his or her parents, the right authority, or the Lens Health Service if that person shows very serious symptoms of depression. Pero kung halimbawa nagsishow lang na yan, madalas malungkot, very lonely, they feel hopeless, it's but appropriate to talk to that person first. Let him or her know na it's okay to share your problems or concern. Kasi pwedeng kaya siya in denial because he or she doesn't want to face the problem, or she's trying to avoid thinking of solutions, or she's too lazy to think of solutions. So maybe by talking it out, just being ready to listen may make the person feel na, oh, if there's something wrong with me, I can trust someone to help me deal with this conflict or this concern because there's someone who cares, or there's someone who's willing to listen.
Can depression just go away with the one cause of extreme happiness?
It depends on yung level of depression niya. Pero ako, I think that if it's serious, it doesn't just go away with just one happy event in your life. Because sometimes kasi these depressed people have distorted thinking, or sometimes they can be very pessimistic. So even if there's a happy event that happens, siguro temporarily they would feel good, but when the distorted thinking or the pessimistic thinking goes back, then the mood will also be affected. So kaya nga may therapy, may counseling, so that that distorted thinking can also be dealt with, that can also be processed, so that he or she can get a more more helpful thoughts, more healthy thoughts that would help the person adjust in everyday life situation.
Okay. So for the next question, how high is depression rate in Manila and in UST, and specifically here in Commerce?
I'm not so familiar with the actual number, pero at least in Commerce, sabihin natin, very few lang naman. Very few. If we receive like names from these are reported names from the health service, let's say mga less than 20 students. But of course, we cannot be sure how many talaga kasi there are some unreported cases. And there are some that go to us but do not go to the health service. So I don't have the definite number. Pero at least for yung mga na-receive namin, nasa less than 20 naman. Across all year levels.
Okay. So, thank you for answering all the question. So,
It helps.
it will help straight. So, as we all know, depression is very dapat talaga pinag-usapan natin. So, if you are feeling depressed, please go to someone who you really trust and talk it out. Because someone out there is really there for you. So, thank you po, Miss Monica.
The difference between men and women who suffer from depression: women are more likely to ruminate when feeling depressed, while men are more likely to abuse alcohol and other substances.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are joined with Professor Joseph Rhence, a graduate from De La Salle University and has a Master in Science and Psychology, major in Clinical Psychology. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, good afternoon.
So there will be 4 questions, and so the first will be, what are the technologies that can treat depression, and are they available here in the Philippines?
Okay, so when you talk about depression, so apparently you're talking here about the treatment, right? So it's not the technology, but the treatment. So there's a lot of treatment when it comes to curing depression. So there are 2 types. So the first one is what you call the biological type, and then the second one is the psychotherapy type. So when you talk about the biological type, this actually refers to what you call pharmacotherapy. So when you talk about pharmacotherapy, it means to say it is the use of medication, so the use of medicine in order for you to uplift a person's mood. So an example of pharmacotherapy, we have the most common, antidepressants. So these are said to be known as psychotropic medications in order for you to actually, in terms of, because when you talk about depression, so I think when you talk about depression, it's also biological. So it's not only psychological, but it's also biological. So there is really an imbalance of the chemical, inside the brain. Specifically, when you talk about the chemical that is imbalanced, it's actually the serotonin. Okay, so there is a lack of serotonin, in the brain. So that's the reason why there is a need for people to take up, medicine. So the first one is what you call, the most common is antidepressant, and then the second one is what you call the SSRI. Okay, so these are said to be new antidepressants known as serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So that actually increases, the serotonin level of the brain. Okay, so that's it. Also, when you talk about pharmacotherapy, you also have the Prozac. Prozac is said to be a famous drug that can actually uplift your mood. And then the second part is what you call the psychological one. Because when you talk about depression, it's also about your behavior, your thoughts, also your feelings. And the number one psychotherapy that can actually treat depression is what you call CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. So when you talk about cognitive behavioral therapy, it is a combination of cognitive therapy and behavioral therapy. So cognitive therapy, it actually it's all about the thinking process, because a depressed person has a negative thinking pattern. So the person is really pessimistic. He or she actually thinks negatively. So what do I mean by that? So parang in one way, he sees a glass half empty rather than full. Parang ganun. Okay? So kino-correct yung thinking pattern ng isang tao during psychotherapy. And then, pag na-correct na yung thinking niya, apparently, may effect dun sa mood niya. So, for example, kung negative yung thinking mo, of course, you feel sad. And then eventually, yung behavior mo, maiiba rin. Whereas, pag during the psychotherapy, ang ginagawa is, pag kinorek na yung thinking mo, from negative to positive, yung positive thinking mo will result to positive feelings, being happy, and then after that, also having positive behaviors as well. Okay? So we have cognitive behavioral therapy. We also have interpersonal psychotherapy. So when you talk about interpersonal psychotherapy, it is actually resolving your interpersonal relationships. Because the thing here is that most of the causes of depression are coming from flawed interpersonal relationships. Sa for example, you have a conflict with your wife, or you have a conflict with your girlfriend or boyfriend, or something like that, or you have a conflict with your parents, no? So that is the cause why a person becomes depressed. So it's like parang i-resolve niya yung mga ano mo, yung mga different, no, different what you call this, flawed, or let's just say yung mga problema mo sa when it comes to interpersonal relationships. Okay? So cognitive behavioral, interpersonal, also we have psychodynamic. So if you have an issue, an unresolved issue in the past, so what ang ginagawa ng isang psychodynamic therapist is that uungkatin niya, no, from the past. But that takes a long time, no, in terms of the treatment. So right now, I think it's really available. So in the Philippines, the Philippines is very much up to date when it comes to the technology or probably the treatment, no, in terms of handling patients with depression or major depressive disorder, something like that. Okay.
There are many types of depression. How different is the treatment for all of them? Or the treatment is the same?
There are different types of depression. So we have the major depressive disorder. So when you talk about major depressive disorder, that means to say the person has at least 5 symptoms, no? And then the duration of the symptoms is actually 2 weeks, no? So that's the major depressive disorder. The second type of depression is what you call the persistent depressive disorder. So that is what you call dysthymia. So that's a lesser type of depression because I think konti lang yung symptom, but the duration is actually 2 months, no? That's the persistent. Also, there are other types. Like for example, we have postpartum depression, no? Those people na pag kunyari nagkaroon sila ng anak, no? Ang tendency nila is magde-depress sila. We also have what you call the premenstrual dysphoric disorder, no? Specifically, this targets women, no? Nagkakaroon ng menstruation, no? Pag sobrang kasi pag ang isang babae kapag nagkakaroon ng mens, apparently may mga changes sa katawan niya. So masakit, no? So nasasaktan siya to the point na parang in one way or another naapektuhan din yung mood niya, no? So that's the premenstrual. And there are a lot of things. Like for example, we have seasonal affective disorder, but that is only for people from northern countries, no? Like for example, those people who are, you know, experiencing harsh winter. Eh tayo naman dito tropical, no? So wala tayong seasonal affective disorder or something like that. But in terms of the treatment, it's still the same, I think, for me personally, no? It depends kung ano yung kaso ng pasyente. So dapat alamin mo kung ano ba yung cause, bakit siya nagkaroon ng depression. Ano ba yung cause nun? So for example, let's just say ang cause niya ay because meron siyang in terms of yung interpersonal relationship niya ay mali, or probably merong problema siya sa mga relationships niya. So ang bibigay mo sa kanya ay interpersonal psychotherapy. So kung mali naman yung kanyang thinking, CBT. Kung let's just say meron na siyang skeletons in the closet na hindi pa niya nare-resolve, psychodynamic or psychoanalytic therapy. So depende yun dun sa problema ng pasyente. So it has the doctor or probably the psychologist would do an assessment, no, before he or she actually prescribe a certain treatment for the patient. Okay? So yun, something like that.
What advice can you give to people who are experiencing depression or possibly depressed?
Okay, so my advice for those people na nakaka-experience ng depression is that first and foremost, they have to observe themselves. No? Ano ba pag sinabi mo, obserbahan mo muna yung sarili mo. So that means to say, alamin mo, ikaw ba'y nalulungkot? Tapos ikaw ba ay nawawala na ng gana sa buhay? Kung dati okay ka kunyari sa paglalaro ng basketball, ngayon ayaw mo na maglaro ng basketball. Or let's just say, meron kang iniisip like gusto mo na magpakamatay, gusto mo nang takasan yung buhay. Or let's just say, sa pagkain mo, kung ikaw ay marami kang kinakain or konti kang kumain. Or let's just say, sa sleeping mo, meron kang insomnia or hindi ka makatulog, or meron kang hypersomnia, yung palagi kang tulog. So, obserbahan mo yung sarili mo. So, kung naobserbahan mo yung sarili mo at nakita mo na meron kang symptoms ng depression, then you need to consult a psychiatrist, a mental health professional. specifically a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist that would help you, no, in terms of providing, a guide for you and also treatment for you, no? Kasi mas okay kung hindi mo siya papatagalin. Mas okay kung yung treatment mo, as soon as you find out na you have all those symptoms, then magpatingin ka na sa isang mental health professional, no? Something like that. Also, in terms of the population in general, my advice also is to lead a healthy lifestyle, no? So that means to say, kailangan okay yung pagkain mo, no? There are some studies showing na ang pagkain ng, let's just say, ng salmon or ng tuna, kasi ito ay rich sa omega fatty acids, no? That could help you in terms of lifting your mood, no? So kung pwede yon. Or let's just say sa pagkain ng pagkain na may folic acid like avocado and asparagus, no? Yung mga spinach, yan. So yon. And also exercise, no? Remember when you talk about exercise, kahit tumakbo ka lang, it would give you endorphins. And endorphins are said to be what you call happy hormones, no? So kahit, kunyari for example, nalulungkot ka, itakbo mo lang yan, magiging masaya ka na pagkatapos, no? So yun lang yung advice ko. And also, siguro, mas okay kung yung nagre-relax ka rin, yung hindi ka masyadong nasistress sa buhay. And at the same time, kasi right now, ang nagiging cause bakit ang mga Pilipino nowadays ay nagkakaroon ng depression is because nawawalan na sila ng true relationship. So when you talk about true relationship, that means to say, yung mga magulang nila, yung mga parents nila nasa ibang bansa. So parang kumbaga in one way or another, napapabayaan sila. So kailangan yung relationship mo sa magulang mo, sa parents mo, kailangan intact pa rin. Kailangan very healthy, no? Kasi kung hindi, magkakaroon ka talaga ng depression. So that's all of my advices, but my critical advice, kung if you found yourself na meron kang ganitong mga simptomas, then you need to consult a mental health professional.
So, that's all. And I hope na nakinig kayo. Thank you po, Sir Rhence, for the interview.
Thank you very much.
Worldwide, there are 300 million cases of depression. In the Philippines, as of 2018, 3.3 million has to deal with depression. 3.1 million suffer from anxiety in the Philippines.
So sa lahat ng nakakaranas ng depression, huwag kayong mag-alala at lagi niyong alalahanin at isipin na andyan si Lord, andyan yung family niyo, andyan yung friend niyo para gumabay sa inyo. Lahat ng problema na susolusyonan.
For those who are experiencing depression, please bear in mind that Lord is always there to guide you. You have family, peers, friends, and relatives to guide you and to be with you throughout your depression state.
For all those who are suffering depression, just always have a positive outlook in life and lagi niyo pong tatandaan na hindi kayo nag-iisa.
Ng depression, masasabi ko lang sa inyo, kaya niyo yan at mahalaga